Hello guys, welcome back to my Bible study series. So today I'm going to be going over the story of Cain and Abel, Genesis 4. Without further ado, let's get into it. So Adam made love to his wife and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. Cain was the oldest son. Later she gave birth to Abel. Abel was the youngest son. So my question in this is, how far apart were Cain and Abel in age? So this is what we don't know yet, and we may not ever know this unless we do like some deep research on it. I might do that. Adam and Eve potentially also had other children before Cain murdered Abel. Also, incest was common and known around this time. And this was like 4th century BCE, I want to say. The name Cain means craftsman or I have acquired. The name Abel means favor, empty, or breathing spirit. Abel was a keeper of sheep, while Cain was a keeper or cultivator of the ground. Cain only brought some fruits of the soil to God. However, Abel offered fat portions from the firstborn of the flock. Mind you, fat portions means the best portions of an animal or from an animal. So my thing is, like, why didn't God receive Cain's offering? Because God receives both animal sacrifices and non-animal related sacrifices. Well, the theory is here that Cain did not give his best offerings to God, while Abel gave his best offerings. Mind you, remember, Abel gave his best portions, but it says Cain only gave some of the fruits of the soil. Whereas as Abel gave his best, Cain was supposed to give his best. Even if he wasn't a keeper of sheep, he could have gave his best fruits to God, which he didn't. That's why Cain looked on favor on Abel and his offerings, and looked on disfavor with Cain and his offerings. Now, in verse 6, we can see that God is conversing with Cain about his anger, and even gives him some wise advice on how to control his anger. Right here, he says, "If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must overrule it." God wants us to confess our shortcomings, sins, to Him. Cain did not offer everything onto God, and he was being selfish instead of selfless and honorable and humble. When we don't do what's right, we become more susceptible to sin. Now, Cain manipulates his brother to go out into the field with him and murders him. Now, this is the first murder that is recorded in the Bible. Now, anger festers into discontentment, jealousy, disobedience, and hate, and even all this can lead to murder. Shortly after God confronts him and asks Cain where his brother is, Cain replies in the most disrespectful, dishonorable, sarcastic way. But the thing is, God already knows what happened to Abel, and God already knows what Cain did to Abel. So because of this, God curses Cain and makes him a restless wanderer on the earth. And this is the same curse he put on Adam, so Adam didn't commit murder. But yeah, this is when you work the ground, it would no longer yield crops for you. So yeah, he cursed Cain. This is the third curse that God has pronounced on a human. But Cain was begging and pleading to God not because of what he did or his actions, but because of the consequence and the punishment that God gave him as a result of what he did. However, God still shows mercy by placing a mark on Cain so that anyone who attacks him and murders him, God will get vengeance against. Mind you, they were in the land of Nod, which was east of Eden. And land of Nod also means land of wandering. Now, when he goes to the land of Nod, I think he was still in the land of Nod, I'm not sure. But yeah, when he goes to the land of Nod, he makes love to his wife, who also could have been his sister, because again, during this time, men would marry their sisters or female family members, because that was how they were able to multiply the earth and everything. But yeah, Cain made love to his wife, who also could have been his sister. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son named Enoch. Cain named the city after his son Enoch. Enoch also means dedicated one. Enoch means dedicated one. Let's see. Also, during this time, industrialism and urbanization were just becoming popular. So to Enoch was born Irad. Irad was the father of Mehujael. Mehujael was the father of Methushael, and Methushael was the father of Lamech. Now I'm going to tell you the meaning of their names, which is Enoch. Sorry, guys. Okay, so Enoch means dedicated one. Irad means fatigued, wild donkey. Mehujael means smitten by God. Methushael means man of God, extension of God. Lamech means poor and lowly and arrogance. Oh, and Lamech was also arrogant, violent, and vigilant in a sense. So yeah, Lamech married two women, and this was the introduction of polygyny, which was very popular. So he married two wives, Ada and Zillah. Ada means ornament and beauty. Zillah means seductiveness and shallowness. Ada had a son named Jabal, and he was the father of those who lived in tents and raised livestock. His brother's name Jubal was the father of instruments and he was a musician, father of musicians. Zillah also had a son named Tubal Cain, who was a creator of tools and possibly weapons. Mind you, during this time, this may have been a time where, although maybe war wasn't breaking out during this time, but maybe, in the future, there was a possible war that was going to break out, and that's why, tools were just starting to become popular and created. Now, his sister's name was Naamah. Okay, and we're going to do the last verse, 23 to 26. Lamech told his two wives that he basically murdered a man for injuring him. He justified his actions because of Cain's murder, that he too would also be avenged 77 times over, since Cain is avenged 7 times over, and this demonstrates anger and violence. He also brags about his sin. A man injuring him is not basis or justifiable for murdering them. Adam and Eve also made love again and had a son named Seth in honor and remembrance of Abel. This was not to replace him. Seth also had a son named Enoch. During this time, people began to declare the name of the Lord, ministering and evangelizing. Now, side notes, Cain's lineage did not follow God. It was a cursed lineage full of sin, disobedience, destruction, violence, murder, and anger. God possibly may have skipped Cain's generation and Lamech's generation because of their disobedience and not being in alignment with God. Also, they weren't able to receive the full promises and blessings of God due to their own disobedience, arrogance, bitterness, and their own ways. But the promises will still be good to their offspring / seed. So, to summarize it up, in general, this kind of shows that when you are walking in alignment with God and walking in obedience with God, God will bless you, and generations after you will also be blessed by you, through you, and because of you. But when you are not walking with God, when you are not in alignment with God, He won't bless you. Like he may not bless your generation, but He will bless. But that doesn't mean that He won't bless like your seed, the future generations of your seed. So he can and will still bless, your seed, your offspring, your children, but He just won't bless you or your family or your generation. And so this is just a warning, and to take heed that we need to be walking in alignment with God and obedience with God, not just to receive His promises, but because of who God is, because of what Jesus did for us on the cross. We have eternal salvation now, and that's when we're saved. So it's just important to follow God, be obedient to God, even when it's hard, to continue to follow God, continue walking with God, because He will bless you and you will reap the benefits. So yeah, I hope you guys like my interpretation, revelation, wisdom, insight on Genesis 4. This is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to watch more of my content, you can go to my YouTube. You can go to the link on my bio, on my TikTok bio, and go to my YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube if you wanted to see more of my content. But yeah, I pray to see you guys on the next video, and I pray you all have a blessed day. Bye.